Origin of the universe.
导引语
Introduction. Schufing. Before many chemical elements were found, most of the chemists didn't know how many chemical elements are there on the Earth and their relationship. Dmitry Mendeleev had already made the famous periodic table of the chemical element, calculated the atomic quantity of elements and showed us the relationship between them. The elements discovered later were all included in his table. The case has demonstrated everything in the universe has the order and laws. Some people say the universe is lawless and disorderly because they haven't found the laws and order.
宇宙的起源
2. Origin of the universe. All things within the time scope, including the celestial bodies and universe, have their origin, the birth time and process of development. The beginning and ending time of the universe, just as the and golden ratio, is mysterious and can't be reached by our wisdom. Compared with the wisdom of the greatest creator, our wisdom is just like a drop in the sea. I would like to share my knowledge of the beginning of the universe gained while my mind was in peace. When I am seeking what things in the universe are eternal, when I am thinking about the resurrection in the Bible, when I am meditating that the life is like a dream and all the four elements, earth, water, fire and air of which the world is made, are void in the Buddhist scripture, when I am trying to figure out the source of Tao in the Tao Te Ching, when I ask myself why I would go to the mortal world, why we exist and where we are going, I have known the beginning process of the universe. However, when I am delighted to think I have found the mystery of the universe, I suddenly realize that this mystery of the universe beginning was explained by the humans, the ancestors of Dragon Nation, 6,000 years ago. It is like a Mt. Everest climber. After reaching the peak after multiple difficulties, finds someone else has left his footprint on it. Thus, I am not bold enough to claim myself as the first one knowing the universe beginning. I only wish to add some details based on the wisdom of the past talents. The river diagram, the Book of Changes and the Yellow Emperor's Book of Internal Medicine have told us the process of the universe beginning is Wuji generates Taiji, Taiji generates two polarities, the two polarities produce the four directions create the eight. 3. Before the existing of the universe it was Wuji. What is the state of Wuji? Wuji is the state of neither in nor out, neither big nor small, neither bound nor edge, neither null nor true, neither time nor space, neither material nor spirit. It is clear chaos, everything and nothing. The detailed explanation of the state can't be completed, even in a book containing 1 million words. I just want to stick to one point. According to the estimation of the paleontologists, the Earth was born about 4.5 billion years ago. Then where was the Earth before it was born? We can only conclude that it was in Wuji before it was born, just like the human beings. We were also in Wuji before we were born. Because the whole universe was in Wuji before it was born, Wuji contains everything. But where is Wuji? A thing without time, space, material, spirit, inside, outside, large size, small size, border, edge, firmness or emptiness can only be described by the word shapeless and visionary. However, Wuji doesn't mean it contains nothing. Instead, it contains everything. It has nothing and everything at the same time. That's why the Diamond Sutra was profound and difficult to understand. For example, if Tathagata explains the laws, don't believe it. The laws can't be explained. If explained, they are not the laws or not the lawless. The Buddhism is no Buddhism. The name of Anagami is Bulai, but actually Bulai doesn't exist. So Anagami is called Anagami. The solemn Buddhist is not solemn. It is called the solemn. Tathagata says the world is not the world. So it is called the world. I should eliminate all life. After doing that, I found no life has been eliminated. And so on. If we don't know the origin of the universe, it is very difficult for us to understand the above Buddha words. If we can fully understand the above non-Buddha words, we will know the origin of the universe. Before everything was born, they were in Wuji, so Wuji means everything. We wish to take an example from the mythical novel Journey to the West to imagine the space in Wuji. Monk Tang and his apprentices entered the disguised monastery. The Monkey King was trapped in the gold symbol by the demon head. So how big or how small was this gold symbol? No matter how high or how low the Monkey King could transform himself, the symbol could change too following him. The Wuji space before the universe was born was in the state as the symbol. It was extremely large and extremely small. The space described in Einstein's general theory of relativity just refers to the space above mentioned. The size of the space is not decided by the energy. However, it is decided by the existence of matters. The more matters are transformed from the energy, the larger the space will be, and vice versa. If there is no matter, there will no space. It's the same as the relationship between the Monkey King and the gold symbol. The space in the symbol is decided by the size of the Monkey King transforms himself. The traditional science believes that space is like a box and the material is a particle in the box. When the particle disappears, space is still there. Nevertheless, space is not like that. When the particle is not there, space will disappear. Space is determined by the distribution of particles. Space will twist, swell, contract, or even disappear as the material and its energy change the size. How to understand the time in Wuji? Time is generated by the movement of objects. There is no time without motion. For example, a man is 40 years old because the cells in his body are splitting, moving, and dying. If the cells were not moving or splitting, he would not have lived till 40. A piece of fresh meat will rot in a few days if placed open to the air in hot weather. However, if we put the meat in the fridge, it will not rot in months. Why? The meat in the fridge has slow, even halting cell movement. When the cell movement slows down, the time of the meat is lengthened. And when the cell movement stops, the time of the meat disappears. If a man is never born, does he still have time? If the earth is not born, does the earth have time? If the universe is not born, does the universe have time? No. This is the time in Wuji. The core of the quantum mechanics is the uncertainty. Why? The time does not lapse evenly. The time is changing. So how can you obtain the certainty? That's all about my explanation of Wuji. 4. Wuji generates Taiji. What is the state of Taiji? First, we have to know Taiji is generated from Wuji. Wuji is nothing and everything. It is everything because the energy existence in it can produce the material world. It is nothing because the energy in it is not material. It is chaos without firmness or emptiness. It is like the sky. When the sky is clear, there is nothing in it. But when it is cloudy, we can see the clouds and lightings and hear the thunders. Then there is everything. In Wuji, there is the intangible energy. The intangible energy, in contrast with the tangible energy, is moving irregularly. When the irregular movement, accidentally on a point, formed a specific order or symbol, the entire Wuji has formed a potential power arrow called the tornado centered on this point. This potential power arrow, or tornado, is just called Taiji. Please note that the tornado is simply a momentum with only potential power. It does not have kinetic energy because it is not rotating. This is how Taiji is generated from Wuji. Taiji is in such a state. It is the one, amorphous, the unity without opposites, and an extremely large energy cluster. It is just like a locked reservoir containing billions of Pacific. The Taiji is just the greatest creator in common sense. In Tao Te Ching, Lao Tzu said, "Chaos was born before there was the earth and heaven. Before the universe was born, something existed. This something is Taiji, the psychic energy of the greatest creator." Lao Tzu named this something as Tao because he confused the nature and psychic energy of the greatest creator. After understanding what Wuji is, we can understand Buddha and Buddhism. After understanding Taiji, we can understand Tao and Taoism. 5. Taiji creates the two polarities. What are the two polarities? It refers to the phenomenon of opposition. For instance, in the state of Taiji, everything is the one and amorphous. But in the state of the two polarities, the intangible energy is shown up in a tangible form. The sun, for example, is an energy cluster. It has been transformed from the intangible energy form in the state of Taiji into the tangible energy form. So the energy is classified into the tangible energy and intangible energy. None and existence form the two polarities, namely the unity of opposites. The contents of the two polarities include none and existence, firmness and emptiness, yin and yang, positive and negative, static and dynamic, left and right, up and down, exterior and interior, front and rear, high and low, noble and humble, hard and soft, big and small, strong and weak, dark and light, male and female, rich and poor, fortunate and unfortunate, gain and loss, merit and fault, more and less, life and death, true and false, good and evil, beauty and ugly, etc. They are the unities of opposites. Everything in the universe, as we know, is the demonstrations of the two polarities. Then how are the two polarities were born out of the Taiji? We have known that the irregular movement of energy in Wuji accidentally formed a certain order. All the energy in a short while formed overwhelmingly an intangible potential energy. If the potential energy is not given out, it will only remain latent like a paper-made tiger. However, when all energies gather at the central point, the energy center has changed its nature, just like the water will evaporate when heated to a certain degree. At this time, the energy center or the nucleus is no longer a kind of energy. Instead, it has become a special structure surrounded by great energies. When this structure is complete, the consciousness comes into being. It is just like a fertilized egg without consciousness. When it keeps absorbing energy in its mother's uterus and improves its structure, a conscious animal, human, will be born. The gathering of mammoth energies has led to the alienation of the energy center, resulting in a structure. The constant improvement of the structure ended up with the emergence of the consciousness, which is the symbol of life birth. The consciousness gathering all energies then started the process of creating the universe. And it is the greatest creator. After the greatest creator is born, the energy in the Taiji began to move around the greatest creator's consciousness. We can also say that all energies move around the structure of the energy center. Just like a human body, when your consciousness tells you to urinate, the bladder door is open and the urine goes out. When you want to look at the sky, your head will be raised and your eyes opened automatically. When you want to have sexual intercourse, your penis is erected. After the greatest creator is born, the two polarities come into being, the celestial bodies show up, the celestial movement begins, the unlimited space is born, the time starts and everything gets into the movement cycle of life and death. 6. The two polarities create the four directions. The two polarities have brought about the four directions. There is south, north, east, and west. There is front, rear, left, and right. There is life, growth, decline, and death. There is quadrant 1, 2, 3, and 4 in the function image. 7. The four directions create the 8 trigrams. Because there is south, north, east, and west, there are now 8 directions including the east, southeast, south, southwest, west, northwest, north, and northeast. The 8 directions are called Qian, Dui, Li, Zhan, Sun, Kan, Zhen, and Kuan respectively, forming the 8 trigrams. Each direction has its special meaning. Each direction has its different chance changes. Let's take a person as an example. If he remains healthy in the south, he might find it difficult to get accustomed to the north. If nothing goes smooth in the east, he may achieve success in the west and the ugly duckling might become the white swan. Even grass will have different growth model and blossoming timing in different directions and locations. 8. The permutation and combination of the 8 trigrams Qian, Dui, Li, Zhan, Sun, Kan, Zhen, and Kuan produce the 64 trigrams. The 64 trigrams are corresponding to the 64 factors in the universe. But as to the details of these 64 factors, because they are related to all the mysteries in the universe and hidden to the common people, even the King Wen of Zhou in the canonization of the gods didn't know all of them. And the most achieved Taoists in China only knew a few of the factors. Sakyamuni masters half of them and Jesus only knows a few more than Sakyamuni does. We often hear people say, no disclosure of the heaven secrets. The heaven secrets are just hidden in the 64 trigrams. The permutation and combination of the 64 trigrams have caused the birth and death of all things in the universe. The things that you can't imagine are just the combination of two factors. The power of Jesus lies in his mastery of the formula of these factors. The birth and death of all things, the limitless mysteries and all changes and movements in the universe are hidden in the permutation and combination formula of these 64 trigrams. No coming, no going, the time-space ends and origin shows up. This is the brief process of the birth of the universe.
2. 宇宙概述
2. Overview of the universe. 介绍 1. The universe is the order. The universe exists as the order and remains relatively stable with the total energies reaching zero. 2. The definition of the universe. The space with the negative and positive energies reaching zero is called the universe, or the space with the balanced matter and antimatter is called the universe. 3. The shape and structure of the universe. The universe is called the large universe and small universe. The borderless one is called the large universe and the one with borders is called the small universe. The large universe is made up of numerous small universes.
P3, 1-4-5-2-6-5-3-8.
It is the symbol of the large universe, which is limitless, no cycling, endless, vast and eternal. The small universe is the relatively secluded and independent galaxy space in the large universe, like the swirls in the river. Each swirl is a relatively independent rotating space. It's also like the eggs in a henhouse in which each egg is an independent and secluded space. The Earth we live on is in a small universe. We might as well call this universe the Earth universe to distinguish it from the other small universes. The Earth universe is a saucer-shaped Taiji oval with its edge covered by a layer of high-energy clouds. The layer of high-energy clouds is the crust of the Earth universe. At the same time, it functions like the stator of a motor. It is a rotating magnetic field, pushing the things on the Earth universe to rotate counterclockwise. The structure of the Earth universe is an oval-shaped rotating object composed of yin and yang, the two meshing revolvers, just like the Taiji diagram of Taoism in China. The difference is that the Taiji diagram is a circle while the Earth universe is a Taiji oval body. We call the Taiji oval body the Lorotary galaxy, in which there are almost 3,000 rotary river galaxies. Each rotary river galaxy is a relatively independent rotating one. In each rotary river galaxy there are almost 3,000 Milky Way systems, with each containing almost 3,000 solar systems. The rotating rate of each celestial body and galaxy seems to be constant. But the fact is that the rate is changing all the time. Each celestial body, when is on the short axis, the rotating speed reaches the maximum. The farther it is from the short axis, the slower it rotates. When reaching the two ends of the long axis, the celestial body will halt for a short time, on which moment all the physical life on the celestial body will die. The spiritual body of the dead life will enter the negative pole of the Taiji oval body, which is called one kalpa. After passing the long axis, the spiritual body will get out of the negative pole of the Taiji oval body and enter the positive pole in the form of the physical life. Because the celestial bodies and galaxies have different mass, they stay on the long axis for different periods of time. So they are in permutation and combination again. For example, the Earth in the next cycle might become a desert land like the Mars, which might be full of life like the Earth. The spatial distance between celestial bodies and galaxies is also in constant change. The closer they are to the short axis, the more distance they will have. The universe seems to be expanding. The closer it stays to the long axis, the less distance it will have. It seems that the universe is shrinking. At present, the Milky Way system is now floating towards the short axis. The Earth universe is classified into the positive universe and negative universe. 4. The positive universe. The sickle world is the positive universe. All the matters, tangible, seeable, touchable, hearable, perceptible, and those that can be measured by the instruments belong to the scope of the positive universe. The dark matters and energies are also classified into the scope of positive universe. For instance, the house, desk, plant, animal, human body, cloud, wind, thunder, lightning, sound, odor, molecule, atom, electron, ion, proton, neutron, nucleon, meson, hyperon, veratron, antiparticle, light ray, gravitation, magnetic force, infrared ray, ultraviolet ray, cathode ray, positive ray, ultrasonic wave, infrasonic wave, biowave. The noise caused by the high and low frequency oscillation, diffusive substances emitted by the radioactive elements such as radium, uranium, plutonium, and francium, and the universal gravitation all belong to the scope of the positive universe. All things existing in the universe in the form of elementary particles are matters. The physical world is the world that can be explained and will be explained by the science. The scope can be explained by the science belongs to the scope of matters. The scope that can't be explained by the science belongs to the superstitious scope not accepted by the people. When science tries to explain the things beyond the material world, it is not science anymore. Instead, it is called the anti-science or superscience. All the religions and the superstitious things are the superscience that stands against the science. 5. The negative universe. The anti-world is the negative universe. All the supermatters, intangible and others that can't be seen, heard, touched, measured, or felt but affect the material world all belong to the scope of the negative world. For instance, the universal repulsion, time, space, spirit, consciousness, thinking, soul, life, soul belong to the non-materials. The belief, Tao, law, order, spell, and Buddhism belong to the non-materials. The angel, God, ghost, Buddha, devil, and other amorphous life are the non-materials. The dream scene, origin of the spiritual feeling, the bridge of the telepathy, the passage of the thinking telepathy, the paradise, the hell, Allah, ancestor of the Buddha, Yahweh and their residences, the zero world, the heaven world, the venue of the gods, and the Elysium where the spiritual body goes to after the dies all belong to the scope of the negative universe. The fantasy is no fantasy, and the reality is no reality, and the seeable is not usable, and the usable is not seeable, as believed by the Taoists belong to the scope of the negative universe. All energies and energy groups that do not exist in the universe in the form of the elementary particles are the antimatters. The positive universe can be explained by the science and is easy to be understood. The negative universe, till now, can only be felt by the people not very clearly. It can't be explained by the science and is difficult to understand. The negative universe is the anti-world. The negative universe is the origin of the matters. The material world is the reflection of the anti-world and image of the negative universe. Everything in the material world is in constant movement and change. They have birth and death. On the contrary, everything in the negative world exists in the relatively eternal state. 6. The law of the universe, the unity of the opposites. Everything in the universe exists in unity of opposites, such as yin and yang, positive and negative, man and woman, male and female, front and rear, exterior and interior, high and low, up and down, firmness and emptiness, glory and shame, static and dynamic, noble and humble, weak and strong, rich and poor, merit and fault, fortunate and unfortunate, gain and loss, forward and backward, more and less, day and night, past and future, tangible and intangible, life and death. Each pair depends on each other. Without one, the opposite one will not exist. The unity of the opposites is the presentation of the universe nature. However, it is a major law of the universe existence. The negative is there because of the positive, and the universal repulsive force is there because of the universal gravitation. It is the same with the matter and antimatter, particle and non-antiparticle, photon and antiphoton, energy and negative energy, the left rotation and right rotation, and the mortal world and the fairy world. You can find the black where you find the white and the male where you find the female. It is the same with the life and death, flesh and soul, paradise and hell, law and lawless, chaos and peace. When the whole society is seeking wealth, there must be some people seeking knowledge. When the whole society is at peace, some force must be preparing for the riot. When all the human beings face the disaster because they have violated the God's orders, the representatives sent by the God and Buddha will help them to wake up. The extremely dynamic will lead to the static and vice versa. 7. The movement of the universe. The movement of the large universe is initiated and operated by the structure in the Taiji Energy Cluster Center. That is to say, it is initiated and operated by the consciousness of the greatest creator. The small universe where the Earth lies in is fueled by the hull of the Earth universe, which is a rotating magnetic field belt. In the universe, there are two groups of energies with the opposite nature, like the action and the reaction. They have the different power but reverse directions. So the total energy stands at 0. These two groups of energies are the Buddhist power, maintaining the orderly operation, stability, and balance of the universe. If we add these two groups of energies, we will get 0. However, when either group is more powerful than the other, the universe will disappear immediately. For instance, the universal gravitation and the universal repulsive force have the same power and opposite movement directions. Because the total is 0, the solar system, the Milky Way system, the Lorotary system, and Rotary River system move in an orderly way. If there is only the universal gravitation without the universal repulsive force, all the celestial movement in the universe will become the direct line movement and join together in the ultra-light speed. So the universe will disappear immediately. If there is only the universal repulsive force without the universal gravitation, there will not be the rotations of the celestial bodies in the universe. The Earth will not move around the Sun, and all the celestial movement will become the direct line movement. The celestial bodies will expand rapidly at the ultra-light speed. In the end, they will burn and die and the universe will disappear, too. In the human society, the science and superstitious are also two groups of energies with equal power and mutual repulsion with total 0 energy. There is no science without the superstitious and vice versa. These two forces constrain each other and move forward together. The more developed the science is, the more active the superstitious activities will become, because the science will prove that the superstitious is not superstitious at all. Instead, it is the super science. On the other hand, the more powerful the superstitious is, the more developed the science will be, because the superstitious will expand the scope of the science. The science and the superstitious is a unity of the opposites. The science finds it impossible to eliminate the superstitious, which also finds it impossible to eliminate the science. The positive universe is levorotation, and the negative universe is dextrorotation. 8. The point for understanding the universe. The correct understanding of the universe will help us build the correct universe concept, world concept, and life concept. When we gradually know about the negative universe, there are fewer mysteries left behind for the world. We will know our past and future, Buddha, Buddhism, Tao and Taoism, Jesus, and the greatest creator. We can face the death and the life sufferings peacefully. In particular, when have made self-improvement and self-refinery to a certain degree, see the 1,000-year world, 10,000-year world, and the Elysium world, we will long for them, just like those people live in the poor countries suddenly see what the developed countries are like in TV. We will know what we should do, and will discover the value and mysteries in the life Chanyuan. You might think that the 10,000-year world hundreds of thousands of light years away is much too far away. But the distance is just one step. People living a few hundred years ago used to think that there was a long distance between the Cape of Good Hope and San Francisco of the States. But today we know it will only take us 2 days to get there. An instant reaching can be achieved via telephone or internet. When we have dreams, the spiritual human body gets out of the flesh body and reaches his friends or relatives far away in a short distance. Even, the spiritual body can follow the time axis to meet with the deceased friends or relatives. For the spiritual bodies, there is no distance of time and space. When we have developed into the spiritual bodies of the celestial beings, it is an easy task to travel through time-space. The universe is our home. The Earth is just a point in the home, a temporary hotel.